Good day, everyone. This is Chiclets T. Platero. We are the Group 3 and we are tasked to discuss speaking and listening strategies which are under of strategies in teaching the mother tongue. Okay, let us now have our introduction. The two end goals of mother tongue based multilingual education are lifelong learning and communicative competence. With the utilization of this native language, which language is familiar to the learners, this goal appear to be achievable. Now, our students can achieve these two goals only possible when education responds and reflects the multilingual nature of the society. If needed to translate the lesson, ato ang i-translate kung unsa nga language ang masabtan sa bata or kung unsa ilang native language or their mother tongue. We teachers must be flexible and resourceful at all times. By that, we can provide lifelong learning and communicative competence specifically from grade 1 to grade 3. These two goals are very important because in lifelong learning, it is a stage of gaining knowledge and learning new skill, and also communicative competence is needed in order to understand communication ethics and to develop cultural awareness. The continuation of the introduction will be presented and discussed by Miss Bernadette Lagos, the second reporter. That would be all. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.
Hi, my name is Bernadette A. Lagos, second reporter of the Group 3. I am going to continue the report of Ms. Platero. However, some teachers who have been assigned to teach the mother tongue are hesitant to handle the subject because they lack the confidence due to their incompetence in the language as well as the dearth of trainings in the use of the language. Well, teachers are hesitant due to lack of proper trainings and the fear of teaching the subject as they lack mastery. Therefore, in order for someone to really teach the subject with confidence, one must learn the subject and continue learning as language is dynamic and is bound to change.
Hello everyone, my name is Angeline C. Caligunan from Bayed 2. Today I will going to continue the report of Ms. Lagos. Using mother tongue helps every child to develop their critical thinking and literacy skills. In teaching the mother tongue from grade 1 to 3, the initial focus from here is the development of literacy, which includes the two areas of reading and writing. That is very important to apply in teaching. Literacy development is a vital part of every child's overall development. It refers to the ongoing development of skills that is needed to successfully communicate through written communication. And the numeracy skills refers to the ability to use, interpret, and communicate mathematician information to solve problems. One of the examples here is a solving problem. Numeracy is very important for each individual to develop logical thinking and reasoning strategies in their everyday activities. And it is very important that every child learn to learn the concept about the language and to define each skills and competence for them to easily understand about the concept. Language learning is an active process that begins at birth and continues throughout life. Language development is continuous and recursive, which students enhance their language learning by using what they know in new and more complex contexts, and with increasing sophistication. They reflect it upon and use prior knowledge to extend and enhance their language and understanding. It is also very important for them to know or to define their skills and competence, which will later be transferred in the learning of the second language, which is Filipino and English.
Hi, I am Wilbert Canto and I am continue to discuss this topic. So let's start. As learning progresses, these macro skills, listening, speaking, reading, writing, and reviewing spiral across grade levels and across languages. The ultimate goal is both oral and writing. This course in the three languages, enclosure number 1 to DepEd order number 31 series of 2012. So as a learning, need macro skill like reading, listening, speaking, writing, and reviewing. So dapat talaga ang estudyante may mga kakayahan na ganyan. So according to enclosure number 1 to DepEd order number 31 series of 2012, DepEd implement of policy guideline on the implementation of grade 1 to 10 of the K-12 basic education curriculum. Ang nakalagay doon, ang DepEd gusto nila na magiging general ang pagtuturo ng mga paaralan, hindi lang sa maliliit, pati na rin sa mga hindi lang sa malalaki na paaralan, kundi pati na rin sa mga maliliit, yung nasa mga puok na paaralan. So dapat general, hindi ibig sabihin niya mas advance yung iba kaysa sa ibang paaralan. So hindi kagaya namin noon na before, may ibang mga paaralan niya, may mga ibang malalaking school na iba yung naituturo kaysa sa mga puok na paaralan o sa mga liblib na paaralan. And I wanna show you this picture. Kung nakikita nyo yan, yung pinapakita ko sa inyo ng litrato, during my school day, kung ano lang talaga yung itinuturo, sinusulat ng guro sa amin sa blackboard o ano yung ini-discuss niya, yun lang talaga ang aming ma-achieve. So wala doon sa amin yung oral presentation o mga iba pang mga activity kaysa na naranasan ngayon ng mga bata, ng mga estudyante kaysa noon sa amin niya. Talagang mas boring lang talaga ang aming pagtuturo noon. So hindi interested yung pag-aaral namin. So balik tayo. Kaya nga gumawa ang DepEd ng policy kasi nakikita ng DepEd niya may ibang paaralan nga hindi na proper yung pagtuturo ng ibang paaralan, yung nasa puok. Kasi nga noon sa aking nalalaman, may mga taong gustong maging guro dahil sa kanilang naisip dahil except sa malaking sahod, mas madali pang magturo. Noon yun, mas madali magturo. Pero mas naging pabor yun sa DepEd dahil mas maraming gustong magiging guro. Mas pabor sa DepEd dahil may mailalagay sila sa mga ibang mga lugar o mga puok na walang paaralan o walang mga guro. No, ganun nga ang nangyari. So hindi katulad ngayon nga nasa 21st century, ang pagiging guro ay hindi talaga madali. Hindi ito'y napakahirap nga gawain kasi nga ang DepEd ngayon dahil nga nasa 21st tayo ay talagang mas creativity yung i-discuss mo sa mga estudyante. May ipapakita ako sa inyo nga litrato. Ayan, kung nakikita nyo, so ngayon yan na yung na-achieve ng mga bata, mas nakaanyaya na yung mga estudyante nga mag-aral kasi nga mas creativity na yung mga guro magturo kaysa noon. So mas jolly na sasaya na yung mga bata kasi nga naging may mga freedom sila nga gusto na may mga oral o mga activity nga kanilang magagawa. So ayan, balik tayo dito sa ayan. So ayan nga ang goal talaga ng DepEd is both oral and oral and written. So during this pandemic, nababahala din ang DepEd kasi nga nawawala na rin yun ang oral o written kasi nga naging online class tayo ngayon. So nahihirapan yung ibang mag-aaral. So nakita ng DepEd nga nasaan na yung learning nga ma-achieve sana sa mga bata kasi mostly yung mga parent na yung gumagawa ng mga module ng mga ibang bata o may mga parent din naman, although may mga parent din naman nga pinipilit nila mga kanilang mga bata nga sagutin yung mga module nila. So sa atin nga sa kolehiyo, so bihira na lang yung magiging magpapaural yung instructor natin. So bihira na lang kung magpapaural ba yung instructor o hindi. So how about sa elementary o secondary? So nawawala na sa kanila yung learning na dapat na kanilang ma-achieve kasi iba yung online at saka yung face to face. Kasi yung face to face mas magaganahan kayong mag-aral, mas ma-interest yung pag-aaral mo, maging interested kaysa sa iba yung mas mahirap kasi yung individual learning. Ikaw lang yung nag-aaral sa sarili mo. Medyo nahihirapan nga ako kung paano ko maisasagot o mag-aaral kasi nga hindi naman tayo matalino. Mas okay nga yung iba dyan yung matatalino, pero sa atin mas mahirap talaga, lalo kung hindi bobo ganun. So yan lang. So kaya nga sa atin ngayon ang pagiging soon to be a teacher, so may mga oral and written din tayo sa pagiging kung pagkatapos natin mag-aral o pasado na tayo sa late, so pag-apply din natin sa DepEd, so mayroon din yung oral and written natin saka tayo magtuturo. So yan lang yung bis lang yun sa aking pag-aaral, so sa aking naintindihan, sa aking tinalakay. So kung meron man kayong hindi naintindihan, so kayo na lang yung mag-research kung ano yung mga implement sa mga DepEd o yung mga article na kailangang mga ginawa. So sana maintindihan niyo yung mga sinasabi ko. Kung minsan man ay nabubulol ako, talagang nahihiyang lang talaga ako o parang nahihiya kaya nga, pero ginagawa ko naman ang lahat para masabi ko yung kung ano talaga yung nasa topic ko. So that's all. Thank you and God bless sa lahat.
Hello, good day. I am J.M. Sanchez, the fifth reporter of the group. In strategies in teaching, different areas composed of 4 strategies. It is the listening and speaking strategies, reading strategies, and the writing activities. So our group will just focus on listening and speaking strategies. Listening and speaking strategies, these activities develop the listening and speaking abilities of the learners as these strengthen phonological and phonemic awareness. Okay, this listening and speaking abilities is just only the 2 of the important foundational skill of a learner must possess. It is just like you can't build a house without a strong foundation. So maong kita as future educator, we need to find some strategies or some techniques on how to develop these abilities. Pwede man nato i-utilize ang technology. Pwede po mo gamit atong traditional way nga mag-read og books sa atong mga learners nga nakafocus jud dira ang listening and speaking strategies. If successfully nato ni nga ma-develop, diri na mosulod ang phonological and phonemic awareness sa isa ka learner nga i-discuss sa next reporter. Under this topic, para mas pasabtan ninyo, the deeper discussions on how to develop this listening and speaking abilities using strategies, it will be discussed sa mga next reporters. That will be my report. Thank you.
So, this is the continuation of the report. So my report is, I am Bernabet Corrada from BE2B. So my report is about phonological awareness. So you know what is phonological awareness? So when we say phonological awareness, it is the ability of the learner to manipulate sounds and words or play with the sounds and words. So meaning to say, So kung ano yung naririnig ng yun yung kakakiyahan na kung ano yung naririnig ng isang bata, so din yun dun yung sinasabi niya. What if, example, when we read a sentence like, isolating words in sentence, she is a good player. So kakayahan ng estudyante, alam niya na, that is 4 words. She is a good player. So kung ano yung naririnig niya, din yun yung sumasagi sa isip niya. This is a skill, a metacognitive skills, awareness to think about what one's own thinking for the sound structure of language. And these skills include recognizing written words or blending and sounds and syllabications. When we say, does glass rain with pass, then alam ng estudyante na, glass, pass. So, ganun. Alam ng bata kung ano, kasi kung ano yung naririnig na, sus nalalaman din niya na, ganun. So, when we say syllable, for example, what teacher said, pancake. So, alam ng bata na, ang sinasabi ng guro niya na, it has 2 syllable, pan and cake. So, if you don't have phonological awareness, without this important skill, potential reading is difficult. So, kailangan talaga ng phonological awareness. Kasi kung walang phonological awareness, mahihirapan yung bata sa pagbabasa. So, example, when we say, ba. So, it start, kung ano narinig na ba, kung narinig ng estudyante na ibig sabihin, ba. At least, so, malalaman nyo kung ano yung kasunod yun. So, it's back. So, ano ng estudyante na, back. So, kasi, when we say phonological awareness, kung ano yung naririnig niya, so yung aware siya na ganun yun yung naririnig niya.
So, hello everyone, my name is GR Bisarati from BEd 2C. So, today I'm going to continue the discussion of the previous topic that was discussed by the previous reporter. So, and that is listening and speaking strategies. Although they already brooded or they already discussed the idea of what is listening and speaking strategies. Specifically in teaching mother tongue mother tongue based multilingual education. So, the topic that I'm going to discuss is about the phonological awareness. So, phonemic awareness. So, what is phonemic awareness? So, it is a focus on the ability to hear and identify sounds in a particular words. So, that means that has a capability to separate the sounds from the sounds of the letter from its words. So, the students may have an idea on how to read that word by blending the sounds from each letter in that word. So, also, it focuses on attention and further sustain the interest of learners. Integration of listening and speaking can be applied in activities that draw out kinesthetic responses. So, in what way that there is a response kinesthetic. For example, we as a facilitator or a teacher or a mentor discuss or telling a story about telling the story. So, we as a teacher might be like going to have a artistic pronunciation or having a fluent pronunciation or having a we need to be good in speaking. So it might be the students will having an interest on that story. And also, for example, basically we are in elementary teachers or soon to be elementary teachers. So, for example, you are going to give it a activity which is we're going to to sing, or to sing. For example, ang tawag na to ang bingo songs. So for example, example ng kanta nga na bingo song. So like, there was a farmer who had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, B-I-N-G-O, B-I-N-G-O. So, sa next stanza, there is an eviction of a letter. So, the students might be participate by having their clap. So, the eviction of the letter, nga familiar pod sa kanang students, nga sounds ana, ilang responses is by clapping or by filling out that kuan kanang katong na-evict nga word. So all in all, the point is the learners has a ability to hear, or has a capability to separate the sounds or familiarize the sounds of the letter. So example ani is like kanang most in common gid kay nga mahitab is kanang bitang blending the sounds para mabasa sa isa ka estudyante. For example, instead of we're telling the word cat, we're going to separate the sounds of the letters from the words. For example, showing like for the letter K, for the A, and T for the T. So the students might be familiarized, or they're going to blend the sounds so that they can read. Diba? So ayun, that's the point. So but again, I am Jarby Sarati, and yun lang po. Salamat.
Hi. My name is John Almunicar. My report is part of the Phonemic Awareness Continue of Mr. Sarate report. This require physical and mental alertness from the learners to perform the necessary movements assigned by the teacher as she tells the story. At the age of 2, the child needs to listen to rhyming books to get used to their ringing ears and also its vocabulary. Example ani is kanaganing mag storytelling ang teacher once nga ibalik-balik niya ang story, ang bata makabalo na kung unsay sunod kay tungod anang iyahang na paminawan niya katong words unsay sumpay. Halimbawa katong The Lion and the Mouse, kadto na istorbo, teacher say that ang lion na istorbo ni ang bata makabalo na unsay sunod ang mouse kay iya naman tong iya naman tong nadungog paulit-ulit, kumbara na exercise niya kato nga story og nisulod sa iyahang mind. Next is, these responses can be nodding of the head, clapping, stamping, or saying aloud a particular word or phrase. This is the teacher techniques to make it easy for the student to understand and speak. Kining nodding of the head, morning mo yango. Magyango-yango ang estudyante while he or she reading. Halimbawa, Karabaw. Ang clapping is the same, pero karabaw. I remember that this stamping is kakuan mo ng liter tapos kabiran. Halimbawa is kining responses. Responses. Tabunan ang iyahang next letter. And saying aloud, morning, mga kinder or preschool, saba kaayo ang room. Kay ngano, ang tingog nila, kusog. Kusog kay magbasa. No? Kunis siya. Okay. And also, the phonemic awareness is ability to play with sound in words. Not letters, but only sound. Thank you.
Thank you for your informative and educative presentation, Mr. Almunicar. Good day, everyone. Speaking for this virtual presentation is Jorges Mark M. Habonero, a BE Ed 2 student of St. Francis Xavier College. For this period, I am going to continue the discussion of the recent reporters about listening and speaking strategies. It was persistently discussed from the past meetings. If you can still remember, that learners begin their education in the language they understand best, or their mother tongue, or their first language, where in fact there is a need to develop a strong foundation in their mother language before effectively learning additional languages. For what? To meet the goals, which is lifelong learning with competence in communicating. So, from what I've said, mother tongue, the mastery of mother tongue greatly helps the children or the learners to easily incorporate or associate other languages or any foreign languages in the field of learning. This will be explained later. No? There are already ideas and factors that mentioned earlier to develop the listening and speaking abilities of the learners. So for now, I will just connect some ideas to continually discuss these kinds of strategies. As you can see in the slide, poetry and rhyme exercises can make learners easily memorize the poem. So, setting aside the abstract means, in the real world scenario, in the real life scenario, giving a task to the learners to memorize a poem is not easy, actually, especially if they are not interested in the activity. But as teachers or as future teachers, how are we going to engage these learners to participate? In the K-12 curriculum, we all know that as a medium of instruction, the mother tongue is used in all learning areas, from kinder to grade 3, except in teaching Filipino and English subjects. So, in our region or in our community, most of us, I think not all of us, so most of us are using Sinugbuanong Bisaya as our first language. So I have here an example of a Visayan poem. This poem is a common and old poem, and I think some of you are familiar with this poem. You can also read it with me. Ang batang buutan, garbo sa ginikanan. Sa tanang sugo siya mutuman, sa walay langan-langan. Dili mamakak, dili manglimbong, matinahuron, matinabangon, ug manggimbuhaton. So, I've searched for possible techniques, strategies, devices that could be used in helping the children to easily memorize a poem. So, I conducted that research and I came up with a result of three poetic devices. So first device is the alliteration. So in using alliteration device, the same consonant sound at the beginning of several words are present in a poetry line. Now for example, sa tanang sugo siya mutuman. In the word sa, and also in the word sugo, and in the word siya, all of these three words have the same consonant sound at the beginning, right? So this is an example of alliteration. So as what I've mentioned earlier, these three devices greatly help the children to easily memorize the poem. So if you can still remember when you were still in your elementary grades, di ba? It is easier for us to memorize or to understand the poem if it has uh, common common consonant sound at the beginning of several words in a poetic or in a poetry line. So next device is the consonants. So in using consonants device, there are repeated letter sounds or phonemes in within the line of poetry. So for example, this poetry line, matinahuron, matinabangon, og manggimbuhaton. As you can see in these three words, they have repeated letter sounds. So ma, and ma. And that is an example of consonants. The third and the last poetic device that is commonly used is the assonance. When we talk about assonance, in a poetry line, there are repeated vowel sounds. For example, in this line of poetry, sa walay langan-langan, as you can see in every word, there is a repeated, or in these words, there are repeated vowel sounds. In the word, sa, in the word walay, and in the word langan-langan. So in the word sa, it has only one syllable. It has a vowel sound of a. In the word walay, with two syllables and two vowel sounds. In the word langan-langan, it has four syllables with four vowel sounds of a. So that is an example of assonance. So those three poetic devices that was mentioned earlier are proven to be effective, you know, to help the learners to easily memorize a poem. Going back to the previous slide, children or learners can also associate words when they hear with their own vocabulary, which will activate prior knowledge and therefore develop their ability to discriminate letter sounds. We all know that vocabulary is very essential. Why? Because vocabulary plays an important part in learning to listen, in learning to speak. But not just that two aspects of learning, but also in learning to read and in learning to write. But we are now merely on focus on listening and speaking strategies. So, since we are talking about mother tongue, which is in used in all learning areas from kinder to grade 3, these learners at this level of grades are considered to be beginners in reading. So, as beginning readers, children or learners use the words they have known to make sense of the words, right? They see in print or they hear from others. So what is the main idea of this concept? Learners can easily incorporate or associate words that are familiar to them to other words they hear. That is why their vocabulary or their prior knowledge will be activated, no? Using this kind of exercises or uh, strategies. But let me insert the four kinds of vocabulary for us also to be well informed about this. There are four kinds of vocabulary, namely listening, speaking, reading, and writing vocabulary. Those four kinds of vocabulary differ according to their types. And In this kind also level of grades, it is considered, or it is the part of teaching that requires accuracy for us teachers. No? For the reason that learners' acquisition of knowledge at this level are the most critical part in shaping the child's brain. As you can, if you can still remember, it was also mentioned from the past courses that at this kind of level or grades, children uh, children cannot easily discriminate or cannot easily forget what they have learned, because this is considered as their first learning. So as teachers, you should teach the learners the appropriate and relevant information or ideas that will be used by them for the future grades or level. So in this particular idea, it will result to their development, no? Their ability to discriminate letter sounds. What does it mean? They will be able to tell the difference between words and sounds that are similar. So there are words and sounds that are similar with differences. Remember that there are words and sounds that are similar, but they have also differences. As well as words and sounds that are different, also they have differences. No? Okay. So, one activity for this strategy is planted words. So, planted words is an example of a concept of word. This concept of word is a general, the general strategy with a variety of activities. So, this kind of activity, planted of words, needs the physical involvement of the learners. No? Their physical involvement should be present. This kind of activity support the student to physically represent and enhance their vocabulary by forming a sentence using the separated words. No? For example, in this planted words activity, a teacher will create, no, single size cards for each student. So each student has cards containing that specific words. And then the students will work together cooperatively to arrange themselves, no, into the proper order to form a sentence. For example, you are going to call 5 students to represent each word. To form the sentence, we went to the store. So we went to the store. There are 5 words. Each student will have to represent each word, and they will work cooperatively to form that sentence. No? They are going to use their vocabulary, no, their prior knowledge, to form the sentence in a proper, no, to form the sentence in a proper order. Okay, so that's all for my topic presentation. But before this presentation ends, let us all remember, as future teachers, it is our job to initiate these kinds of strategies, or the strategies I've mentioned earlier, whenever they are needed by the learners, but also considering the applicability to their needs and their capabilities. So, thank you so much for listening. I will now pass on the mic to Miss Annie. Once again, good day and God bless.
So good day, I'm Annie Vivisano. I am the last reporter in Group 3. This is the continuation of Mr. Habanero. So the total physical response strategy can also be employed where the teacher gives directions which the learners act out. This activity develops the listening and acting skills of the learners. So it is a language teaching method built around the coordination of speech and action.
It attempts to teach language through physical activity. So, a great example of this is the singing. So, singing with total physical response is the grade school classic. So, for example, the song of Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes. So, this song is not only fun to sing, but incorporates movements that students can remember even if they can't quite get all the words. So, this helps them remember the words more accurately after practice and reinforces their meaning. So, meaning to say, you have to show the movements to your students in front and say the vocabulary word. Be sure to do this a few times so everyone understands what you're doing. So as a teacher, so diha jud ka sa front sa imong estudyante magtudlo sa imong sa mga action sa kanta kay para mas dali nila masabtan kay makita man ka sa tanan, so ang ma-follow gid nila og tarong ang mga action. So diha sa imong gitudlo sa kanang for sa atong example, the head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So isa man ni siya sa physical activity sa kay mo siya kanang exercise pero kanang makahatag po siya ganang meaning bisag dili pa nimo memorize sa imong estudyante ang mga words, pero through sa imong movements and action is masabtan na nila kadugayan ang unsay meaning di ay ato. So those are the total physical response strategy. So, and that's all. Thank you.